Hi, my name is Amanda Dursine, and today I'm going to be presenting on the roles of the pancreas and the liver, and more specifically, what they have to do in the overall process of digestion. Okay, so what is the liver? The liver has many functions, but first we'll talk about how it's the largest solid organ as well as the largest gland in the body. Some of the functions that the liver has include digestion, detoxification, production of chemicals, protein synthesis. But its main job within the digestive system is to process the nutrients absorbed from the small intestine. The liver is the body's chemical quote unquote factory. It takes raw materials absorbed from the intestine and makes all the various chemicals that the body needs to function. The liver also detoxifies potentially harmful chemicals, hence the second function, detoxification. It also breaks down many drugs that can be toxic to the body. Bile from the liver secreted into the small intestine also plays a very important role in digesting fat and some vitamins. So let's recall that lipids are hydrophobic, that is, they do not dissolve in water. Thus, before they can be digested into the watery environment of the small intestine, large lipid globules must be broken down into smaller lipid globules, which is a process known as emulsification. Bile is the mixture secreted by the liver to accomplish the emulsification of lipids in the small intestine. Hepatocytes, which are just liver cells, hepatocytes of the liver secrete about 1 liter of bile per day. Now, bile is a yellow-brown or yellow-green, very alkaline solution with a pH of 7.6 to 8.6. And it is also a mixture of water, bile salts, bile pigments, phospholipids, electrolytes, cholesterol, and triglycerides. Now, some of you may know bilirubin. Bilirubin is the main bile pigment. It's also a waste product produced by the spleen when old or damaged red blood cells are removed from the circulation. So in the liver, proteins and irons are recycled, whereas bilirubin is excreted in the bile. It accounts for the yellowish-greenish color of the bile, which I previously mentioned, and it is eventually transformed by the intestinal bacteria into what is known as stercobilin, and that is a brown pigment that actually gives your stool its characteristic brown color. So hepatocytes work nonstop. They work around the clock, but bile production increases when the fatty chyme enters the duodenum and stimulates the secretion of the gut hormone secretin. So between meals, bile is produced and conserved, and the valve-like hepatopancreatic ampulla closes, which allows bile to divert to the gallbladder, where it is then concentrated and stored until the next meal. Bile made in the liver is released from the gallbladder in a non-enzymatic solution that facilitates the digestion of fats. Bile salts that make it to the colon are then converted back to bile acids by colonic bacteria, and they're also recycled back to the liver. Through the hepatic portal vein, bile salts return to the liver, where the hepatocytes take them back up and resecrete them. So the recirculation of bile salts is essential to fat digestion because the body's pool of bile salts must cycle anywhere from 2 to 5 times per meal. Okay, so on to the pancreas. What is the pancreas? The pancreas is a soft, long, flattened gland in the abdomen that lies in the retroperitoneum behind the stomach, as you can see in the image on the right. The pancreas is both an exocrine and an endocrine gland. It is an endocrine gland because it releases hormones into the blood, and it's an exocrine gland because it secretes digestive enzymes. So more specifically, the endocrine cells of the pancreas produce insulin and glucagon, which are 2 hormones that are vital in regulating blood sugar. Insulin lowers blood sugar levels, while glucagon raises blood sugar levels. So together, the 2 of these hormones work to maintain the proper level and balance of sugar in the blood. The exocrine cells of the pancreas produce enzymes that help with digestion. So when food enters the stomach, the exocrine cells release the pancreatic enzymes into a system of small ducts that lead to the main pancreatic duct. The pancreatic duct then runs the length of the pancreas and carries pancreatic enzymes as well as other secretions, which are collectively called pancreatic juice. Now, similarly to bile, pancreatic juice is produced in over the amount of 1 liter per day. And it is a clear liquid mostly composed of water along with some salts, sodium bicarbonate, and several digestive enzymes as well. So sodium bicarbonate is mainly responsible for the slight alkalinity of the pancreatic juice, hence why it is 7.1 to 8.2 pH. Then this serves to buffer the acidic gastric juice in chyme, which is inactivated by pepsin from the stomach and then created an optimal environment for the activity of the pH-sensitive digestive enzymes in the small intestine. So the exocrine part of the pancreas looks like little grape-like cell clusters, which are called acini, and they're located at the terminal ends of the pancreatic ducts. So these acinar cells are what secrete the pancreatic juice that I was just discussing. The main pancreatic duct connects with the common bile duct, which is seen in green in the image, which then carries bile from the gallbladder, and then together they connect with the duodenum at a point called the ampulla of Vater. And this is where bile and pancreatic enzymes enter the duodenum to aid with the digestion of fats, carbohydrates, and protein. So bringing it all back, bringing it full circle, let's see the coordination of pancreas and the liver. So on the left is just an image where you can see kind of where all these organs lie within the body. The liver is the large red organ on the top. They're all labeled. And then the pancreas is the yellowish looking gland underneath. And then you can see the common hepatic duct, the gallbladder, the common bile duct. Everything that we kind of discussed throughout this presentation thus far. And on the right is kind of a really helpful image, I think, that breaks down the pathway of all of these liquids that we just discussed: bile and chyme and pancreatic juice, the intestinal juice. So if you want to pause this presentation here and kind of work your way through following the arrows, I think this is a very helpful image that helps kind of just reiterate the pathways that I just discussed. And these are my references. Thanks for watching.